But no, I never really saw myself that way. I like being like a real human person, not somebody's mom. That time where maybe in another life I might have had children, I feel like that's the time that I had Yale-NUS college. I'm Professor Mira Seo. I don't know why I said Professor Mira Seo. I am Associate Professor in Humanities. I'm an inaugural faculty member at Yale-NUS College. I'm a class assist. I'm currently head of studies in the literature major and associate director of the common curriculum. Next year I'll be director of the common curriculum also. I actually never talk about my childhood. Like, I never talk about it. I find other people who talk about their childhood incredibly boring. I really do. And I just think that, like, when people talk about themselves as children, that's kind of creepy to me. I guess what I'm very skeptical of is people who have highly developed narratives and legends of their own past. So there isn't anything distinctive like a legend or a mythology or an origin story or an ition of how I became the person I am. For me, home is being in my kitchen. I remember when the movers came to move me out of my apartment in Ann Arbor, they started packing up all of the cookbooks and they started packing up all of the incredibly heavy pots and pans and kitchenware, and it just took hours, and they just looked at me and they said, are you a chef or something? I was like, no, I'm not a chef, I'm an academic. But they were just like, there's too much kitchen stuff here, this is not normal. But this is something that I've had all my life, is just a lot of kitchen things. I like to acquire things where I live. Even if I'm on vacation, sometimes I pack my knives. You know, I need to have like my knives with me. And my vacations are often about like going somewhere so I can shop and cook in that area. Having a home like is literally being domestic, like having that kitchen space and being able to do that. Like, have you ever like cooked eel? Like live eel from a tank? Eel has a very strong nervous system. So if they take it out of the tank and they stun it and they cut off the head and they cut it all into pieces, you think it's dead. You sprinkle the salt in it and it moves. And then you're like, okay, that's weird. And you put it in the fridge and you drink some wine and you forget about it. And then your friend goes into the fridge and puts his hand on the eel pieces. And then he screams so loud. He's like, it's moving! And you're like, no, it's not moving. It's been like 6 hours since it's been cut into pieces. You know this is not moving anymore. And he's like, no, you have to feel it's moving. So you put it, and it is moving. It's like when you put your hand on the meat, it's reacting. Because it still has like electrical impulses inside the flesh. It's really weird. It's great that we moved to Singapore because we're closer to Korea now, and so I can see my relatives and we can visit and have fun. I think in the U.S. I felt like more Korean, right? Because I'm like I'm a minority, right? Whereas here I feel like people expect me to be more Asian. Like they want me to be like speak Mandarin or Hokkien, or you know, if I say I'm Korean, they'll be like, "Oh, do you speak Korean?" You know, so I feel like I'm more disappointing as a Korean here in Singapore. If I'm Korean or Asian or whatever, like, why am I learning Latin or ancient Greek or whatever? I never felt that. So the point of older works that are ancient is that they're for everyone. I don't think that people of European heritage are better at Latin than me. I mean, I know that for a fact they're not.